This is cs952, Introduction to Web Technologies and Design. And we're continuing to work on our extra credit project, or if you just want to work on this page just to learn more, this is our frequently asked questions page. And when we last left off, we had created some style rules to make our questions at the top of the page stand out so that we can distinguish them a little bit more from the answers. So we're going to continue along this line of doing some styling to make what's happening on the page functionally, the fact that we've got 3 questions, then we've got 3 groups of answers. We want to show exactly how it works functionally. You can click on the links and everything goes. We want to give folks some visual clue as to how the page works. So let's go back to our styles and our global. And when we got started, we created a CSS selector of FAQ answer. So I'm going to type in FAQ, there it is, FAQ answer. And it begins with a period, so we know it's a class, and we assigned this class to all of our divs that have answers. If we look in our DOM panel, we can see that we've got 3 divs here, right? Let me close these up. We've got 3 divs, answer 1, answer 2, answer 3, and they're all members. If I scoot over here, they're all members of the FAQ answer class. So any properties that we add to this class, FAQ answer, it's going to affect all 3 of these divs that we're looking at. So we've got styles, we've got global, we've got FAQ answer. Let's do this. First, I want to add a little space between my answers. And we do that by increasing the margin. The margin is the space outside of an element on the page, right? Margin, if you're parking 2 cars in a parking lot, margin is the space between your car and the car next to you. Padding is how much room you have inside of your car once you get inside of your car. So let's go to our layout properties, and let's click on down here to margin, and let's add in this little bit tight fit here. Let me move these up so we can get a better appreciation of what our parameters are. And slide, there we go. Okay, so margin. We want to add 15 pixels of margin on the bottom. If we just hit 1.5 and hit enter, Dreamweaver will default to the value of pixels. There we go. So now we add a little bit of space. Now we want to add some padding. Remember, padding is the space inside of our car. And for some reason, there's something glitchy where once you set a property, it doesn't reset to show you the properties you just set. So if you click on another, if we click over here under show set, we can see this is the one property that we already set. Yep, our margin. So let's undo that. Let me go down to my padding, and I'm going to put in 10 pixels of padding to give myself a little extra space on the top. There we go. Now we can see that we added in some space here. I'm going to add in 10 pixels of padding on the right, so we should see a little space added over here on the right. So I'm going to in my CSS designer, I'm going to type in 10. Now we see we've got space here. For the bottom, I'm going to add in a pretty fair amount of padding. I'm going to type in 30 pixels. So we should see some extra space added right here at the very bottom. Okay. Let's scroll down. Yeah, see, now we've got that extra space there. Looks cleaner, doesn't it? And we've added 10 pixels of padding on the right, let's add an equal 10 pixels of padding on the left. Okay, 10 pixels of padding there. Good. Yeah, now it's coming along. Now what I'd like to do now is to create a border around each one of my answers. And I can change my border properties by clicking right here. There's a border shortcut. And I'm going to choose to have a border that goes on all sides. So we're working on all sides. For the width of my border, I'm going to choose a thick border. Let's go with a thick border, okay? And I want it, for the style, I want it to be solid. And for the color, I'm going to go with maybe this color. We haven't used this color in a while, that kind of gold looking color. And I think it's going to look a little bit more modern if we can round those edges. So I'm going to give myself a border radius of 10 pixels. Now, I want to mention something about our border radius property. We can set all four corners to have the same radius, which is typical, or we can only have some corners with the radius and other corners be just a straight square. That can look kind of interesting and artistic. Like, so for example, let's say I put in 20 for that corner and then put in 20 for the top corner. See, that looks kind of interesting, doesn't it? That's perfectly fine if you want to do that. If we want to set all four border radiuses to be the same, if you click in the middle of this border radius, there's a little link, and it says click to change all properties. If I click on that, and I set one corner, any one of them, to a value, like if I set 10, now all four change. So I like that. Okay. Now let's pick a background color. So I'm going to go to my background color, and for my background color, I'm going to go with maybe another one of these colors that we got from the Adobe Color. Let's choose that. Okay, bear with me. I think we're going to need to go back to our text properties and apply the white text color. There we go. All right. So clearly we can tell the difference between our questions and our answers at this point, right? I mean, without a doubt. Let's go ahead and hit Save All. So now we've really set apart the questions and the answers. Before, it just all looked like a whole bunch of text. We have our three questions up here at the top, and we have our answers down here at the bottom. This is what I'd like to do. I would like to target where it says back to the top. I'm not too thrilled about the way back to the top looks. Can we target this particular element on the page? Okay, I'm going to click on that, and when I do, I'm going to use my status bar. I can see that there's an anchor there. I know it's an anchor, right? Because this is a link that takes us back to the top of the page. But I'm going to use the status bar to click on that anchor. And this anchor has a property that's in common on all of our answers, right? We're inside of the class of FAQ answer, and it's in a paragraph tag, and it's an anchor. So I can use this rule, FAQ answer, paragraph anchor, to target every single time we have this back to the top show up. So let's do that. Let's create a new selector, and we want our new selector to not be first answer. That's not quite right. This is what we want our selector to be. We want our selector to be dot FAQ answer. So Dreamweaver is filling in the first part for us, right? We want to target the class of FAQ answer, space, and then paragraph, space, and then anchor, because that's going to target every time we see back to the top, because back to the top, it's an anchor that's in a paragraph, that's in a div, that's a member of that class, FAQ answer. Okay, so I'm going to hit enter to accept that. Hit enter one more time. So this is what I'd like to do. These are the properties I like to give it. I would like this to be bold. So under my font weight, I'm going to choose bold. When I do that, now look, they're all bold. Okay. I want it to be italic, because I think italics is going to help it stand out. So I'm going to say italic. We got that? Yep. Now for my color, that blue color is not working. So, and I'll go to white for now. There we go. And this last thing, we haven't talked too much about our float property, but float allows you to shift things either to the left or to the right. We can go under layout, and I'm going to go down to my float, and I'm going to say float to the right. And now when we do that, I like this. Okay, this is a good place to take a break. We're going to save and come back and wrap up our styling.